Alright guys, I want to talk about a couple things. Some that strictly for the Hi-Point, some, you know, universal. First I want to say in this video that, disclaimer here, whatever you guys do to your guns, it's on you. You're responsible for anything you do with it, right? Whether you hit your target, whether you miss your target, whether you hit your target, goes through and hits another target, you're going to be responsible for anything you do. We're all big boys, big girls. You decide what you want to do and what you think is right for you, and I'm going to decide what's right for me. And I'll go over some of the things I do, and you decide if it's right for you as well. So that being the disclaimer, this guy is unloaded, and that is not usually the case. Now, I am going to, before I get started here, I am going to get back into the Ceratec, the AR build, budget AR build. Trying to save up some money for some ammo. Wait till me and my brother have time off. He wants to help Chris in it too. So we're going to go out, you know, run some rounds through to see how it works. So we'll get back to that coming up. And I'm making a new video about all the modifications I've done to this gun, because it's my project gun. I like working on it. And that'll be coming out pretty soon. From it'll be some old footage, some new stuff that I'll splice in here and there. So look, keep an eye for that. Like, sub, and keep notified for that one. Especially if you're a Hi-Point person, you can go through that and see what you like. So, okay, number one, and this not just to Hi-Point, but to all firearms. You need to maintain your guns, man. No matter what gun it is, you got to maintain it. And watching YouTube, I'll hear guys talk about how they'll leave their Hi-Points. You know, it was Hi-Point video. Leave it in a tackle box. They'll leave it in a garage. They'll leave it in a barn or something. Just leave it out, you know, in a shed or something. And they fire thousands of rounds through it. It's always been reliable, but they never clean it. I've heard of guys throwing Glocks in the dishwasher, right? They don't take them apart and clean them. Okay, so I think it's great that you can have a gun that reliable that's going to run filthy. That's great that it's that dependable, but you still need to maintain your firearms, man. You fire it, you need to take it apart, you know, field strip it, clean it, inspect it, make sure everything's A-okay. I mean, it's a machine that deals with a lot of pressures, moving parts, man. And there's springs in there that can get all corroded, especially if it's something you're going to put your life on. You know, it can be dependable, but when one spring gives out, man, something, you know, whether it's a trigger spring or firing pin spring, extract, doesn't matter what it is, one spring going out can make a big difference. And you would never know because you don't get in there, clean it, and inspect it. So that's number one, and that's with any gun, man. You guys need to do that. Now, for Hi-Point and, you know, and other guns too, I recommend, especially if you're going to just leave it out somewhere, I prefer a snug holster. Let me show you what I got here. And I'll leave a link in the description bar. I guess some people may wonder what this is. But I like a tight fit holster like this, and this was sewn up, but I tore it apart for you guys. This is what you don't want. So I'm going to sew this back up when the video is done. But you don't want something that opens up. I prefer something sealed off, right? There's no way dust and all kinds of crap are going to get in there. Who knows? You know, if you leave it outside, maybe something can crawl in there and nest in there and bring all kinds of crap in there. You never know, right? But there'll be no dust balls or any kind of barrel obstructions or anything. That's not going to happen if it's sealed. Right, and then it's snug on this side, so you know I keep it cleaned and lubed up, keep it all snug. It's gonna be fine like that. You can leave it pretty much anywhere, I'd say. You know, still changes in the weather. I worry about springs and stuff, so you know, still I take it apart and check it out every so often. But that's what I like. I like a holster like that, and just keep it. I keep it like that in this setup. I got that 8-round mag, and then. I got two 10-rounders filled up in here. Now, this is for the Hi-Point, man, Hi-Points can be kind of a pain in the ass to rack sometimes, right? So, under stress, let me show you here. This is one of the older ones, but you know, it's got deeper grooves, and the new ones have the small serrations here. Doesn't really give you a hell of a lot of grip, but you know, it's kind of a pain in the behind to rack as is. Now, you add limited time, you add a high stress situation, and then let's say you throw in cold, wet weather to boot, man, right? Or you spilled something on it and it's kind of slick, and it's already kind of a pain in the ass to rack. So okay, you choose what you want to do, but I prefer to keep it cocked and locked. I keep one in the chamber. I think the cops call it condition 1. So where it would have one chambered and just on safety, and then I keep it in this holster here. There's no way that safety is going to come undone. There's no way that safety is going to come undone. Right? Not in that holster. But if I needed to, I would have to just pull it out, slide down, I'm ready to go. Right? That's me personally. So, you know, like I said, high stress, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I prefer keeping one in the chamber, not just with this, but anything I'm going to carry. You know, if something's going to happen real quick, well then, you know, you may not be able to rack that sucker. Something might happen, you may not be able to. But especially because these are kind of a pain in the ass to rack. Okay? Another thing, when you lube your gun, you take it apart, clean it, lube it, don't get oil in the inner tube. Right? It can get all gunked up, especially if you don't clean it that often. It can interfere with the firing pin action, man. So, I mean, right here, that is your inner tube, right? That's where the firing pin is, and you just cocks it back. Your sear gets out of the way, releases the firing pin, strikes the primer. But if you get all kinds of gunk in here, say it's all kinds of, you know, debris, dirt that would stick to oil, well, it's unlikely that it would jam up completely, but it could. But what's more likely is that you have a weaker spring. There's all kinds of crud in there with the oil, just gunks it up, slows down the firing pin, which is probably going to be weakened after a while, and you get a light primer strike. Light primer strike does not fire, so then you have to, cock it back, rechamber another round, and hopefully, you know, hope for the best in the next one. So to eliminate that from happening, you know, upkeep on it, of course, but don't get oil inside the inner tube when you're cleaning it and lubing it, right? So that'd be a big one too. Hi-Points are not recommended to use hollow points in. Now, some people do. I haven't had issues with this guy. I did it first, and then it kind of worked itself out, and I haven't tested it in a while. But what I do, again, you do what you want to do, I keep one hollow point in the chamber. And then I have a full 8 rounds of FMJ right behind it. Right? So you've got the one hollow point and 8 the octuplets there right behind it, just in case, if I need it. So again, that's up to you what you're going to do with that. Another thing, what I've noticed, and why I changed these grips, I did a video about it if you want to put some texture on these, is you don't get really much of a grip with these Hi-Point stock grips. This is a Hi-Point grip. I just took a soldering iron. There's guys that'll take hours and hours and hours to stipple that thing. I just put a little bit of texture on there with a soldering iron, just you know, kind of swirl it around. I did a video on that. It took less than 4 minutes. for this one side. So 8 between the two. I mean, you know, you have to heat the thing up. So 15-minute job instead of hours of, you know, it's just a Hi-Point. Come on, right? And that'll give you a better grip on it. That I like to do myself. It's up to you. I don't know if that affects the value or not, if any. I mean, they got a pretty good resale if anybody's concerned about that. And the last thing is, I'm not sure about using Tula. This thing fires Tula just fine, but I remember Jason Dalton did a 1,000-round torture test with Tula, and he said, you know, you can see pictures where the breech face was pretty worn, and after 1,000 rounds. So I checked out the breech face on this guy because I fired Tula, and I noticed, you know, the same circular shape. It wasn't as defined, but it was there. So I'm not sure. I know that, of course, using, you know, steel is a harder metal than brass, and the metal here, it's like a zinc composite. I mean, the barrel is steel, but I'm not sure about most of the other parts. But regardless, I'm not sure. I would think twice about it. I would recommend if you're going to carry it with you, some brass ammo that it likes. Take it to the range. You know, find an ammo that it really likes, and that's what you should carry with you. My issue with the Tula, let's say if it did put a bit of wear, I'm not sure if it was just the Tula, but my thoughts. If you're buying something like this for your main defense, then you're probably in a tight budget. And if you're in a tight budget, you might only have this gun. If you got more than one, I recommend you buy something like this if this is all you can afford. And then you save up and buy something else. After that, you have 2 guns in the house. Or you can sell it off, recoup some of the cost, right? But if you only have one firearm, and Hi-Point's got the best warranty in the business, right? You contact them, they tell you what to do, give you shipping instructions, you send it back, they'll fix it for free. But for that time that you don't have a gun, man, Murphy's Law, that's when that shit could happen. I say you always should have something in the house, right? I mean, hell, Murphy's Law, man. If something was going to happen, it probably happened that afternoon after you wind up mailing this thing aside, mailing it away for repairs, man. So for that reason, I wouldn't use Tula. I mean, if it does cause excessive wear, I know with like ARs, you know, you can do some damage, and you know, not serious damage, but you know, over time, the cost, you'd actually save money using steel case and just replacing a barrel. But you know, some people don't want to do that. And if you only have one firearm, well then keep it tip top. If you have 2, you can send it off for free, repairs, great. But if it's the only way you can defend yourself, take care of it, man. This guy, it's my project gun, right? I've got other stuff to fall back on. So I'll fire Tula, just, you know, cheap gun, cheap ammo. That's the way I see it. But if I ran on hard times, I'd sell everything but this guy. I'm just going to feed it brass. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Maybe it helps you guys, maybe it doesn't. Again, you know, you guys choose what you're going to do. Take the advice you want with a grain of salt. I'm no expert. I just, you know, think I got a little common sense, that's all. But you're responsible for your own actions, guys, when you're carrying. So, anyway, that's it for me. Subscribe and, you know, hit that notification icon. I got some new stuff coming out for these Hi-Points. Like I said, I like them. They're a very solid, reliable gun for the price. Best warranty in the business. I did a video called "Is Hi-Point a Good Option for Personal Defense, Personal Protection, or Home Defense?" Check that out if you're on the fence about these things. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm out. Y'all have a good one.